Welcome, Clarinet players, and welcome to our Lesson 4 review. In this video today, I'm going to review songs on page 6 at the bottom, and that includes playing our white belt song, 3Z Does It. Then I'm going to continue on to page 7 with half notes and our half note songs on page 7. Even if you've already earned your white belt song, please play along with these 3 songs that we're going to review on page 6. It's always good to practice old songs that might be a little bit easier because that actually helps improve your breathing and your note recognition. Let's begin. Let's take a look at number 9, A Breath of Fresh Air. You'll notice that we've got 2 notes in a row for every single note. 2 E's, 2 D's, and 2 C's. I'm only going to write the letter name for the first note because we want to start memorizing that every time we see a note on the bottom line, that means E. Every time we see a note hanging below the bottom line, that note's D. And every time we see a note on its own line, kind of like an island, that note is C. Every time we see this apostrophe mark, that means to take a big balloon breath. Now, we can't take forever to take this balloon breath because the song moves pretty quick. I'm going to start my metronome in a minute, and the metronome just clicks to help us keep the beat. I want you at home to tap your foot when you play a song, and you tap your foot along to the beat or along to the metronome. The reason why we do that is so we know exactly how long to hold each note. For number 9, we only have whole notes, which are worth 4 beats. That means I need to hold each one of these notes for 4 clicks of the metronome or 4 taps of my foot. After I've held the note for 4 taps, I take a quick breath, move my fingers for the next note, and play the next note. I can't be looking down at my fingers every single time I need to change notes because that will also slow down my song. So for today, I want you to practice when we play these songs, moving your fingers to the next note by feel without glancing down at your clarinet. So that means if we start on E with our thumb and first finger and move to D, all you do is think in your brain, I'm going to press my second finger without looking at it. That helps me keep my eyes on the music, and that will help me play notes and switch between notes even faster. Let's begin. I'm going to start my metronome, and as I start my metronome, remember, tap your foot. Get your fingers ready to play the note E before we even start. That way you're not scrambling to find your fingers as we're tapping our foot. So form E with your thumb on the thumb hole, first finger on the first finger hole. If you're having trouble putting together your clarinet or figuring out which note is which, go back to lesson review number 1. In that first review, I review exactly how to read a fingering chart and how to finger each note, and we practice making sounds on each note. Just because it's lesson number 1 from a few weeks ago, that doesn't mean you can't go back and use it for practice. I'd rather you take your time to practice each note so you have a clear, distinct sound than to just rush through a song and play it poorly. If you need to, take some time to go back to lesson review video 1 and review your finger numbers. Here's song number 9, A Breath of Fresh Air. Get your foot tapping, because here we go. Let's get my metronome a little bit louder. All right. Not sure if you can hear that. It seems very quiet today. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. Nice job. Remember, we want to keep the beat. We can't take forever just to switch finger numbers on those breaths. So while you take that quick breath, also switch your fingers and be ready to play the next note right away. That's something we're going to have to practice over the next few weeks, changing notes swiftly. Before we look at number 10, double check your sound on your clarinet. You should hear a distinct sound for every music note. If all your notes sound the same, then we're either not blowing into the instrument right, or we're not pressing the fingers down all the way to cover the hole completely. So take a moment and listen to your sound. You can even try recording yourself and then watching your recording or listening to your recording back. You should hear 3 separate sounds. One's the higher sound for E, our middle sound for D, and our lowest note, C. If you don't hear 3 specific notes, a high note, a middle note, and a low note, double check your finger numbers and double check how you're blowing into your instrument. If all your notes sound the same, then something's not quite right. Let's look at number 10, breathing easy. Number 10 starts on C, which means you have to press 3 fingers to hear our lowest note. Then we play C again and move to D with 2 fingers. Then we play D again and move to E with 1 finger. And then we jump back down to C. Remember, every time you see this apostrophe, that means you take a quick breath and move your fingers to the next note. Don't take too long on those breaths, because we got to be ready to play the next note very quickly. Let's go ahead and try number 10, breathing easy. Get ready to tap your foot. 1, 2, ready, go. Did you hear 3 distinct notes when you were playing? Nice job. I'm going to move down to 3Z Does It, number 11. This is our white belt song. If you haven't earned it already, then as you practice number 11 this week, you can take a minute to record yourself on your Chromebook or laptop and then submit that recording to our Google Classroom. I'll listen to that recording and tell you that you've either earned your white belt, or I'll give you some specific things to practice before you can re-record a new video and send it to me again. I'm not going to write in the letter names of these notes because I want us to start memorizing which notes are which. Just to review, like our first note, every time you see a note on the bottom line of the staff, that's E with 1 finger. The notes below the line is D with 2 fingers. The note on its island, its own island line, all by itself, is C with 3 fingers. If you need to write in some finger numbers in your book or some letter names, you can do that. The best way to write in finger numbers or letter names is to put a finger number on top and a letter name on the bottom. That way you're able to see that E is 1 finger and it's the note on our bottom line. Here's number 11, 3Z Does It. Get ready by pressing your fingers on E and lifting your instrument to your mouth. Get ready to tap your foot. 1, 2, ready, go. this song for your white belt, you can play it a little bit slower if you need some more time to switch notes, especially when we jump from one finger for E all the way down to 3 fingers for C. That's a big jump, going from 1 finger, adding our second 2 fingers, all the way down to 3. If you haven't sent me your white belt song recording yet, then your goal this week is to practice 9, 10, and 11, and then to record number 11 when you can hear a clear, distinct sound between each note and you can play it all the way through. If you've already recorded number 11 and sent it to me, then you can go ahead and work on page 7. I'm going to go ahead and move forward with page 7. You can either stop the video now and practice page 6, or you can keep going with me. For page 7, we introduce half notes. A half note is an open circle with a stem, and it's only worth 2 beats. So while we held our whole notes for 4 beats, we only hold a half note for 2. Which note is longer? Our whole note worth 4 beats or our half note worth 2? You're right, it's our half note. Our whole note. Our whole note is longer because I have to hold it for more beats. These half notes are shorter notes because I only hold them for 2 beats. Because they're shorter notes, they're going to seem to go by faster. Looking at song number 12, Half the Time, I notice that my notes are in groups of 3. I've got a group of 3 C notes here, and then a group of 3 D notes, and then a group of 3 E notes. Our goal with number 12 is to play all 3 notes with 1 breath. Then on our rest, we take a breath and put our fingers down for the next note. Then we play all 3 D notes with 1 breath. Then on the rest, we take a breath, place our fingers for the next note, and play 3 E notes with 1 breath. Let's go ahead and try song number 12. Remember, when you're playing multiple notes in a row, you don't want to breathe in between each note like this. The goal is to play all 3 notes with just 1 breath. This is something that you can do if you work at it. The way to do it is called tonguing. It's almost like you say the syllable tu, tu, tu when you play each note. That just means the tip of your tongue touches the tip of the reed to start the new note. So instead of just blowing into your note for C, you touch the tip of your tongue to start each note. Touch the tip of your tongue to start the next note, and then touch the tip of your tongue to start the next note. We'll talk more about that at our next lesson, but let's go ahead and try it for song number 12. Don't forget, we also have a repeat sign, those 2 little dots at the end of our song. That means you need to go back to the beginning and play the song a second time. For today, I'm only going to play the song once. I'll let you try it a second time on your own. Here's song number 12, Half the Time. Don't forget to tap your foot and to make a tonguing movement with your mouth to separate each note. 1, 2, ready, go. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. How'd you do? Did you hear a clear, distinct note every time you changed your fingers? If not, Go back and keep practicing this one again. I'm going to play number 13, Mix It Up. Again, I see that I've got notes in groups of 3. That means I'm going to play all 3 notes with one breath by tonguing in between each note, touching the tip of my tongue to the tip of the reed to stop and separate the sound. And then I've got another group of 3, and then a group of 4. I can take a breath every time I see these rests. With my group of 4, if you can't last all 4 notes with one breath, you can add a separate breath in between so you're playing 2 notes, and you can cut that group in half if you need to. There's also a repeat sign, so when you practice this song, don't forget to play it through 2 times. Here's number 13, Mix It Up. 1, 2, ready, go. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. Don't forget to repeat that song on your own. Let's look at number 14, Duet, Do It. Remember, I'm only playing through these songs just one time, really quick, just to give you an idea of how it sounds and so you can play along with me. When you're practicing these songs at home, you need to play through each song 3 or 4 times in a row to practice making the correct sound, to practice making the correct fingers, and to hear a distinct sound in between each of your notes. Duet, Do It is our yellow belt song. If you've already earned your white belt song, number 14 is going to be your next song to record for me. When you make a recording, you do need to do the repeat sign, so make sure you play the song through 2 times. When you record, you get to pick either line A or line B to play for me. You'll notice that these notes are also in groups of 3. That means we want to try playing each group of 3 with one breath. Oops. I'm going to start with line A, but I'm just going to play it 1 time so you can hear what it sounds like. Then I will move on to line B. Line A starts with 3 fingers on C. So let's get our instrument set up with 3 fingers on C before we even start playing. Here's line A of number 14. It's also our yellow belt song. Don't forget, this box rest is worth 2 beats. That's why I always say rest, rest. It's a 2-beat rest. 1, 2, ready, go. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. Did you hear how I held our last note for longer? That's because our last note is a whole note, which is worth 4 beats. When you send me a recording, I'll be listening that you hold that last note for longer than the other ones. Here's line B. 1, 2, ready, go. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. And that's it. Don't forget, when you play this song, you need to play it through twice with the repeat sign. If you have questions about how to play any of the songs on page 6 or 7, feel free to send me an email. You can always send me a test recording where you record yourself playing a song and you send it to our Google Drive. And for the song title, you can just say test or practice, and I'll give you feedback on what you need to practice in order to earn your belt song, or what you just need to work on in general when practicing your clarinet. I'm grateful that you guys are playing an instrument this year. You are music rock stars, and I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving break.